Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Some strange news coming out of California. The Los Angeles Dodgers are hosting a pride event where they're going to be honoring some alleged transgender nuns. It's actually quite an astonishing story. And I have the story right here. You can read this at NBC, and it says, Dodgers walk back decision to invite queer and trans nuns from Pride Night. And if you don't know what happened here, basically there was going to be this Pride Night where they were going to honor these nuns, which we'll talk about in a second here, these alleged nuns. The information's in a quick video we're going to watch from the news organization. And they walked it back. They actually initially said, we're not going to do this. And I remember Bishop Cordileone of San Francisco tweeted a thank you to this, and they decided to actually walk it back. Well, it seems that instead of sticking to their guns, they're going to actually have the nuns there. It's a pretty interesting situation, to put it in a politically correct tone, and it's quite astonishing what's actually happening. Before we get to that, though, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Thank you to the TKR store, where we have our beard products for sale. We also have our sacred frankincense that people loved, and we finally got back in stock. And we also have our lanolin balm as well, which you can find there. And I get the autofocus back. There you go. And thank you again to the TKR store. And if you're interested in growing a face sweater, in fact, I actually shaved this morning. You might not know that. That's how effective our beard products are. I'm kidding. But you can check those out in the links in the description to this video. Go to thekennedyreport.com and visit the TKR store to see our new products. Kennedy's Choice Beard Oil. You can use this on your beard to help with alleviating itchiness, dryness, and irritation of skin. And don't worry, no animals were used in testing this product except for myself. Use Kennedy's Choice Beard Balm for a softer, healthier, manageable beard that is made with natural ingredients. And trust me, I know a thing or two about beards. Visit thekennedyreport.com and check out the TKR store. The links for this are in the description. So thank you to the TKR store, and everyone check that out if you're into Father's Day is around the corner, and you might need some beard products for that. That's usually pretty useful. Okay, so what about these nuns? Well, let's look at this video here because it's actually quite shocking and very strange.
In a Pride Night controversy, the team facing backlash for rescinding a community award and a Pride Night invitation to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a historic drag group that describes themselves as queer and trans nuns devoted to charity work.
Our group are feeling angry. Some are feeling very sad. My feeling is disappointment.
Sister Unity is a founding member of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence LA chapter.
It's not disappointment about the award. It's disappointment that an organization as strong and as important as the Dodgers actually relented and caved in so quickly after the objections were raised.
The move coming after Florida Senator Marco Rubio sent a letter to the MLB blasting the group's inclusion in the Pride Night event, calling the sisters, quote, a lewd imitation of Roman Catholic nuns, and saying the group intentionally mocks and degrades Christians. That letter not sitting well with some locals.
It wasn't his business in Florida.
The conservative-leaning Catholic League also writing a letter to the MLB commissioner saying, quote, if a group of white boys in blackface were to be honored by an MLB team, there is little doubt that the event would be canceled. There is no difference between this and the hateful farce of awarding the sisters.
We don't mock Catholic nuns. We borrow from them. There's a little good-natured, joyful ribbing, but we honor their work and we assume it as well for our community.
The Dodgers announcing Wednesday they were uninviting the group to the June 16th event, quote, given the strong feelings of people who have been offended by the sisters' inclusion in the evening. Senator Rubio responded to the Dodgers' move in a tweet saying, quote, for once, common sense prevailed in California. His office declined our request for an interview. This as members of the LGBTQ community rallies around the sisters, sharing disappointment with the uninvitation. LA Pride and the LA LGBT Center both announcing they're pulling out of Dodgers Pride Night altogether this year.
Certainly there's a financial hit that this his cause for the center by not participating. But it was really important for us to make sure that we were in alliance with the sisters, and participating just would have felt like a betrayal to our community.
I just think it's really sad because we're going backwards and not forward.
Congressman Jimmy Gomez, who represents the district where the Dodgers play.
Anyway, bunch of nonsense. It's amazing though, eh? Obviously these sisters, well, they're not sisters, but you know what I'm saying. Obviously this group does not have any canonical recognition by the church. And I guarantee you, if the regular media were to do a story about a traditionalist order of priests, for example, they would make it very clear to say they are not recognized by Rome. They are schismatics, whatever. Excommunicated, they would find a way to do it. But when it comes to this mockery of the church, and the mockery is admitted by the person that had that strange eyelash thing. I don't know what that is. It was the string hanging off his eye. They would, they admit that they're mocking the church. Well, what does this tell us, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it tells us that your institutions hate you. They really, really hate you. Your sports hate you. Now, I'm not one of those guys who says, you can never enjoy a sports game or something like that because they don't like your values and stuff and because they're woke. I mean, that's pretty much every single thing. I mean, the movie Nefarious is out right now. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's wonderful. But the movie theater shows terrible movies. So I wouldn't say you shouldn't go see Nefarious because the company that owns the movie theater also does some, stuff like the Dodgers are doing. I mean, I'm personally, I think boycotts work. I think they're good. I think you should do them if you can. But if we become absolutists and whatever with certain things, then we kind of get into absurdity. And then we can't actually support the things that are good, if that makes sense. But anyway, this is crazy. It's amazing when you see the interviews from these people and they say things like, well, I'm so disappointed because this is just going backwards. And it's like, it's not going backwards. This isn't backwards or forwards. This is a group of people who aren't nuns, who are calling themselves nuns, mock the Catholic Church, and want to be honored. Anyway, absolutely insane. But another day at the office, another day in our fallen society. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to know why we got here, because this did not happen overnight. There was a time when this would not have been possible because the Catholic bishops would have essentially organized a national boycott. That was what happened. This is why they had the Catholic League for the films back in the 40s and 50s, because the Catholic bishops would essentially say, you are not supposed to go to these films. And people will say things like, well, that wouldn't work today because people don't obey the bishops. That's not true. People do, generally speaking, do what the bishops say. We saw that happen with COVID. Some people pronounce it communism, but some people pronounce it COVID. We saw that happen. When the bishop said, don't go to mass because of the sickness or whatever, people had no problem parroting the message of the bishops. The bishops still have some sort of temporal authority. I mean, they do have it because the church has authority over the world. This is part of the rights of Christ the King. It's actually not that difficult for the church to exercise her authority. She just has to do it. She just never does, very rarely. But if you want to know why we got there, you got to understand that the church has rejected Catholic tradition. And there was one man who stood up very strongly to this, and his name was Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre. He was a hero. And you can see here my book on the screen, SSPX, The Defense. Thank you to the thousands of people who have purchased the book and have given me kind reactions to it and things. And also thank you to those who have helped me make it a little bit better. I'll at some point release some sort of corrections to some of the typos and things like that. That's part of self-publishing. But in any case, you can find that book in the links. You can find a link for that in the description to this video, and you can find out how did we get to this point where, Bishop, Cordileone, he tweeted last week basically, thank you when they decided to rescind it back. But where is the condemnation of this by the Catholic bishops? Where is the resounding, letter of disappointment? It's funny. These bishops love to put out letters in their diocese and things like that saying, don't attend the SSPX, they're meanie poo-poo heads, schismatics, whatever. But where's the letter in the diocese saying never attend a baseball game? I'm waiting to see that. And it shows you where the priorities are. Anyway, as always, let me know what you think in the comments. This has been the Kennedy Report. Until next time, God bless.